Hello, Sudoku friends, and good morning. Welcome to this Sunday, the 25th of February 2024, and today's edition of the New York Times Hard Sudoku Puzzle. I'm feeling much better this morning. The first room I stayed in on my recent motorcycle trip didn't have any windows, and it didn't have a fan. All it had was air conditioning, and it was probably 40 degrees when I checked into the room. So I had no choice but to turn on the air conditioning, something that I rarely do because I really don't like air conditioning. I think it's a waste of energy, and it also gives me a sore throat. So I set it at 29 degrees. That's centigrades, of course. I am from Europe. And I thought that would be sufficient to avoid getting a sore throat. Alas, it wasn't. So I've been fighting that for the past 5 days, but it's getting better. But my voice is probably still not back to normal. Let's see how this video goes, though. I'm looking at this column here, column 8, because there are so many givens already. And I can see that all we really need now is a 4, 5, 6, and a 9 to complete the column. There's a 4, 5, and a 9 blocking this square. So it must be a 6. Now I'm looking for other 6s, and I'm not really seeing anything. This 6 blocks up and this blocks over. So a 6 must go here, here, or here. But that is way too vague for me to continue looking. So I'll turn my attention to something else and see what is going to happen. As I'm looking across row 5, I thought I would be looking for 8s, but now I'm spotting an 8 already in the row. So now is a good time to see if we can do anything with the 8s in this chute here, columns 4, 5, and 6. We have an 8 blocking down here, and we have an 8 blocking across here. We have an 8 blocking here. So look here, this 8 blocks here, this 8 blocks down. One of these must be an 8 blocking up. This 8 blocks down, so an 8 will have to go here or here. Now that we know that, I'm seeing a 7 and an 8 for these two squares. And here is how that goes. We have a 7 and an 8 blocking here. We have an 8 blocking down here, so one of these must be an 8 blocking down. So an 8 has got to go either here or here. And the same is true for the 7. The 7 blocks down, so a 7 must go here or here, and therefore again in these two squares. So since we know what will go here, and we have a 3 blocking here and a 3 blocking here, we also know now that one of these must be a 3. That might come in handy later on. And while I'm seeing that, I'm seeing the 1 blocking this square. And we got 2 1s blocking these 5 squares. So 1 goes here. This is how I go about solving most puzzles, by the way. I don't really have a plan. I start looking and see what comes up. And I will only begin to look much closer at the grid once I run out of ideas and simple singles and doubles. Now I'm looking at the 1, 2 here. They look very interesting because they block here. So I know that these two squares must be a 1 and a 2. And that makes it easy to figure out that these, since they can't be 1 and 2, must be a 3, 5, and an 8. We do have a 3 and an 8 blocking here, so this must be a 5. Now I'm looking for more 5s, just in case, you know. I see a 5 blocking over here and up here. It's not enough. Speaking of the 2s, though, this 2 blocks across here, so we are going to have a 2 either here or here blocking across. This blocks across and this blocks down. One of these is going to end up being a 2. Back to the eights now. This 8 blocks up. These two eights block across here and here. So this is an 8. Look at the nice 1-2 pair we have here. We need to find a 1 and a 2 for two of these three squares here, right? We have a 1 and a 2 blocking here already. So now it's clear that a 1 and a 2 must go in some order in these two squares, leaving a 3, 8, and a 7 for these squares. And since we know that one of these is an 8, because these are 1 and 2, right? We know that this can't be an 8. We know that these must be 1 and 2. The 8 blocks here. So this is the only square available for an 8 in row 4. We might have a look at row 5, for which we need a 3, 4, 6, and a 5. There's a 3, 4, 6, all blocking this square. It must be a 5, meaning that a 5, 8 must go in two of these squares here. And again, we are helped by the knowledge that one of these must be an 8. We also have a 5 blocking up here already, so we know that these must be 5 and 8. And look here, the 8 blocks down, here's a 5 and here's an 8. Let's have another look at these two squares. We know there must be a 3 and an 8. Now let's look at what's missing here. And missing are 4, 6, and a 7. Here's a 4 and a 6 blocking this square. It must be a 7. Now we have 4 and 6 in these two squares. We have a 7 blocking over here now, another 7 blocking over here, and a 7 blocking down. So this is a 7. This is a 1, 2, remember? Therefore, a 6 and a 4 for these squares. 6, 6. No, I don't know yet. And oh, but hang on, a 3, 4, 6 here. 4, 6 block over still. So this is a 3. And a 4, 6 pair here. Now the 3 blocks across and across, one of these is a 3. And here we still have our friends, the 1 and the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And we have a 6 and a 4 blocking here, so this must be a 3. Now we have 4, 6 here and here. We have a ghost 3 here, along with an 8 blocking this square. We have a 3 blocking these 3 squares. We have a 3 blocking this square. So this is a 3. Now we know that this is a 3, and we know this because this 3 blocks across here, this 3 blocks down here, these are 7 and 8. Ergo, a 3 goes here or here, blocking up. This 3 blocks up. These two threes block here, here, and here. So a 3 has got to go in this cell here. So 1, 2 here, and here, and here, and here. 3, 8 here. 4, 6, 4, 6. Since we have a 1 and a 2 blocking these squares, and we know that these are 1, 2 remote pairs, we still need to account for a 5, 7, 9 for these squares here. Isn't that right? We also have a 5, 7, 9 blocking up here, of course. So yes, a 5, 7, 9 here. And again, that leaves us with a 4, 6 for this square and for this square. Those 4 and 6s are haunting us, aren't they? Given all these 1s and 2s and 3s and 8s across here, and the 9 and the 5, I want to look at these squares here. because they can't very well be 1, 2, 3. They can be 4, but not a 5. They can be 6, but not a 7, 8, 9. And the same is true for this square. It cannot be a 1, 2, 3. It could be a 4, but not a 5. It could be a 6, but it couldn't be a 7, 8, 9. So we got 4 and 6 here again. 4 and 6. And what does that mean for these squares? If they can't be 4 and 6, and we know that these are 7 and 8, I think we should be able to figure out that this must be a 2. And that possibly solves the puzzle for us. We'll just have to wait and see, because now this 2 blocks up here, this 2 blocks up here, this 2 and this 2 block across. So 2 goes in the top row like so. So 4 and 6 here, therefore a 9 and a 5 here. 9s and 5s. We don't have a lot of 5s, do we? But at least now we know that a 5 must go either here or here. We do recall, I'm sure, that these are 1 and 2s. Now the 2 goes here and the 1 here. This 1 blocks up. This 1 blocks down. This 1 blocks across. Here's a 1, and now we have a 2 here. The 4, 6 pair here also tells us that one of these must be a 4. We also need to find a 6 and a 9 for the row here. And again, I'm not able to say where those go. We need to find out 1, 4, 5, 6, 9. 1, 5, 6, 9. We know this is a 4, 6. So a 1, 5, 9. 1 here. This is a 5, 9. So I can't really tell anything from this except that one of these is going to be a 1. But that's a little meager, isn't it? But we can get back to the 4, 6 now, and we can solve those, because this 4 blocks here, this 4 blocks here. We need a 4 for this row 2, and we know that these are 4, 6. So now we know that this must be the 4, and this must be the 6, which now blocks these 2 squares. This 6 blocks these 3 squares. So we have ourselves a 6 here, and therefore here. This 6 blocks down, so does this. This blocks across, here's a 6. And it's very fitting now that both of these squares must be 4 and 6s. See the 4 and the 6 block here? So 4 and 6 here, and that puts a 9 in this square, doesn't it? And this 9 blocks here, this 9 blocks here and here, therefore we have ourselves a 9 here. These are 4s and 6s, right? 6 now blocks down. Here's a 4, here's a 6. And here's a 4. Here's a 6. Which blocks down here? The 6 blocks across. The 6 blocks across. We have the 6 going on here and the 4 going on here. 4, 5, and 7 here. 5 blocks up. Here is a 5. 4 and 7 here. Therefore, a 1 and a 2 for these 2 squares. Here are 4 and a 5. 4 blocks over. 5 must go here and the 4 here. 1, 2, and 7. 1, 2, and 7. Well, one of these is a 7 blocking down, so 7 must go here or here. And 2 must go here or here. And also here and here. So I'm calling a 1 probably for this square, but let's not get ahead of ourselves with unique rectangles. I don't think that is going to be necessary today. Let's first plug this hole here. It must be a 4. Now we have a 4 here and a 7 here. That puts a 7 in this square, and therefore a 9 here. That gives us a 5 here, which blocks down. This 5 blocks down. This 5 blocks across. Here's a 5. And here's a 3. Now we finally can resolve the 8 and the 3 we had going on here from the beginning. Here a 9 and one more, a 5. 9 blocks over, 5 here and 9 here. Can we do anything with the 2's? No, here, 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 or here. I refuse to do a unique rectangle today. So let's continue and look at the 9's. 9 blocks down and over. So here's a 9. Now we know that this must be a 1, which blocks across, and I was right in my guess that this is going to be a 1, but I'd rather figure it out logically than by knowing about the unique rectangle pattern, to be honest. Here's a 7, here's an 8. 1, 2, 7 for these squares. The 1 blocks up, here's a 1. We know that this, therefore, is a 2, and this is a 2, and this must be a 7. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please come back soon for more. Bye for now.